The Ardent Resolve slid out of jump space with the precision of a blade unsheathed. For a moment, silence filled the bridge, crew exhaling after days of distorted sleep in transit. Beyond the forward screen stretched the Perseus arm, thick with star clusters that shimmered like powdered glass. It should have been awe, the kind of sight to silence cynics. Instead, alarms flared red across the consoles. "Gravity spike," shouted Lieutenant Rourke, fingers hammering at sensors. "We're caught in an interdiction net." The ship lurched, hull groaning as if gripped by an invisible fist. Captain Mara Kade braced against her chair, jaw tight. She'd expected suspicion, maybe even posturing. But this, being locked in place before her crew had finished their first survey scan, reeked of intimidation. "Confirm source," she ordered. Rourke's display bloomed with symbols, an alien fleet in a crescent formation, 6 vessels with long, spear-shaped hulls and pale green luminescence. At their center loomed a battleship bristling with emitters. The Sereth. On cue, a channel opened. The face that filled the main screen was both elegant and severe, Sereth Thal, commander of the Sereth Coalition fleet. His skin shimmered like polished obsidian, eyes physiqued like gemstones. His voice carried the cadence of ritual. "Humans," he intoned, "your presence violates the accords of this sector. You are children straying beyond your cradle. Surrender your vessel for inspection, or be reduced to dust that drifts nameless between stars." A hush settled. Ensign Vale shifted at navigation, pale under the light of her console. "They've locked weapons," she whispered. Mara leaned forward, elbows braced on her knees. She studied Sereth as if weighing a specimen. "Commander Thal," she said evenly, "this is a sanctioned diplomatic mission. We carry no weapons of mass engagement, only research equipment. But you already know that. So what's this, greeting or trap?" Sereth's expression did not shift. "Your kind arrive without permission, spread without restraint. This is containment, nothing more. Obey, and you may survive." Mara allowed herself a thin smile. "Containment doesn't sit well with us. Ask the asteroids back home. They tried to cage us too, ended up stripped for all." Around her, the crew stiffened, fear thinning into grim amusement. A calculated risk, humor as defiance. The Sereth commander's eyes flickered. "Perhaps annoyance, perhaps nothing. Your arrogance will be short-lived." The feed cut to static. "Field pressure rising," Rourke reported. "If we don't act, they'll crush the drive chamber." Mara rose. "Options. Standard burn won't break it," said Chief Engineer De La Cruz over comms. "But if we invert the grave coils, bleed power from life support, and ride the surge, maybe." "Maybe doesn't fill me with confidence," Vale muttered. "Neither does suffocating in orbit," Mara replied. "Prep the inversion. Helm, align us dead center on their net. If we're breaking out, we're breaking through." Rourke glanced up. "That'll take us right past their lead battleship." "Good," Mara said. "Let them see our teeth." The crew moved, stripped of hesitation now that decision was set. Panels snapped open, hands flew across displays, sparks rained as emergency overrides engaged. The Resolve trembled under stress, as if resenting the strain yet unwilling to bow. Minutes bled into seconds. The hum of the engines deepened, turning into a raw vibration in their bones. "Coil inversion primed," De La Cruz announced. "Execute." The ship bucked, gravity clawing at them as artificial mass collapsed inward, then roared outward. The interdiction net screamed against the surge, green filaments shuddering like glass under a hammer. Warning klaxons wailed, half the displays went dark. Vale gritted her teeth. Trajectory holding, barely. On the main screen, the Sereth formation trembled. Their flagship loomed ahead, its silhouette like a blade against starlight. Mara's voice cut across the chaos, "Punch us through." The Resolve tore forward, hull plating creaking, the interdiction field splintering in its wake. Sparks burst from conduits as systems overloaded, yet momentum carried them past the Sereth line. For an instant, the ship flew close enough that Mara could see the alien vessel's surface bristling with turrets, everyone tracking them. Then they were clear. The bridge erupted with ragged cheers. Not victory, survival, raw and immediate. Status? Mara demanded. Shields compromised, nav-array fried, life support stable but weak, De La Cruz replied, coughing through static. We're flying wounded. Better than not flying at all. Mara settled back into her chair, breathing hard but steady. The comm screen flickered again. Sereth returned, his voice sharpened now, stripped of ceremonial calm. You risk annihilation for the illusion of freedom. You will learn, Captain Kade, that the galaxy remembers only those who know their place. Mara met his gaze unflinching. Then remember this, humans don't have a place. We make one. She cut the channel. The bridge light steadied. Outside, the alien fleet shifted formation, shadowing them but not firing. For now. Mara studied the starfield ahead, 1,000 suns burning across the void. Each one a promise, each one a challenge. Behind her, she heard the quiet determination of her crew as they reset systems, hands steady despite exhaustion. They were still alive. Still moving. And that, she thought, was the only beginning humanity ever needed. The Ardent Resolve drifted on half-broken systems, a wounded predator pushing through alien waters. Repairs flickered across every deck, sparks raining as conduits were sealed, crew dragging patch kits through smoke, breath hanging faint in air thinned by life support sacrifice. Yet the ship still moved, and that mattered. On the bridge, the star map pulsed with hostile signatures. The Sereth fleet maintained a careful distance, herding without striking. A leash, visible in its restraint. Like wolves, Rourke muttered at his console. They want us to feel hunted. They want us to fold before the kill, Mara said. She stood with arms crossed, eyes fixed on the ships trailing them. Not happening. Vale adjusted the nav array, its half-functioning display flickering. Course correction locked. We're limping toward their station whether we like it or not. Only question is if we walk in as guests or as cattle. Mara didn't answer immediately. She considered the crew, their tension wrapped tight but not snapping. Fear lingered, yes, but beneath it, anger. Pride stoked hotter than panic. Good. That was fuel. Prepare for formal contact, she ordered. If the Sereth want theater, we'll give them a show. The station hung ahead like an iron crown, blackened spires circling a swollen hub. Docking vectors transmitted without request, accompanied by words lacquered in threat, submit your ship for boarding. Diplomats will disembark unarmed. Mara smirked at the phrasing. Diplomats, plural. They assumed she'd bring a retinue, as if humans traveled with courtly entourages. They didn't yet understand. She gathered her officers in the wardroom, scarred plating vibrating under failing stabilizers. A faint tang of coolant lingered in the air. We dock, we talk, she began. Eyes open. No one lets their pride run hotter than their brain. They want us rattled. We show iron. Vale frowned. They'll treat us like children. Then we make them regret underestimating children, Mara said. Rourke leaned forward. Permission to carry hidden arms. Mara shook her head. Not yet. We win this round with words, not bullets. If they force our hand, then we remind them why miners make the best fighters, because we only swing when it counts. The docking seals locked with a shudder. Gravity shifted as the Sereth station imposed its own field, precise and oppressive. A delegation waited in the reception hall, tall Sereth in layered armor that gleamed like obsidian in low light. At their center stood Sereth Thal. He greeted them not with welcome, but with proclamation. You stand before the Sereth Coalition, trespassers and disruptors. Speak swiftly before judgment falls. Mara stepped forward. She wore no ornate uniform, only her plain captain's jacket patched at the shoulder. Captain Mara Kade of Earth. We come under the banner of diplomacy. If judgment falls, let it fall on your arrogance, not ours. Sereth's lips curved in something too cold to be a smile. Your defiance is predictable. It is also irrelevant. You have no allies here, no treaties to shield you. Your vessel crawls under strain. You cling to bravado because it is all you possess. Mara held his gaze. Bravado kept us alive long enough to stand here. And standing here is more than you expected of us. Murmurs rippled through the alien assembly, whispers in a tongue humans had not yet mastered. Sereth raised a hand, silence returned. He gestured to a long table set with crystalline vessels and glimmering dishes. Then sit, he said. Let us share food before we decide your fate. The banquet hall was austere, its vaulted ceiling alive with projected constellations. The table shimmered with alien fare, translucent cuts of protein, steaming spheres that smelled of metal and ozone, drinks refracting light like molten gems. The human crew sat opposite the Sereth delegation, posture straight but wary. Rourke eyed his plate with undisguised suspicion. Vale poked at hers, nose wrinkling. Mara lifted a glass, inhaled the sharp scent, and drank. It burned like liquid iron, then settled with surprising warmth. She set it down, gaze sweeping the table. Impressive spread, she said. Do you always poison your guests before negotiations, or is this a special honor? A ripple of tension spread among the aliens. Sereth's expression remained smooth. We poison only when necessary. Tonight we test. Mara smirked. Then you'll find humans don't fail tests easily. Vale whispered under her breath, or gracefully. Rourke choked back a laugh. The tension at the table cracked, if only slightly. Talk followed in measured blows, words wielded as weapons. The Sereth spoke of balance, of humanity's disruptive advance, of the danger of allowing reckless short-lived species to sprawl unchecked. Mara countered with stories of Earth's survival, oceans tamed, skies conquered, void claimed by sheer will. We've carved homes out of airless rock and storms of fire, she said. Every challenge told us to stop. We didn't. You think you can stop us? You'll need more than words and cages. Sereth tilted his head, eyes glinting. You mistake persistence for power. The galaxy is not a mine to be stripped. It is a hierarchy. Humanity enters at the bottom, if at all. Funny, Mara replied, we've never been good at staying where we're told. Halfway through the exchange, the lights flickered. A faint vibration rattled through the deck, subtle but distinct. Mara's gaze snapped to Vale, who tapped her wrist screen under the table. The message flashed quick and quiet, sabotage, resolve systems compromised. Mara's eyes narrowed. She masked it with a sip of the burning drink, then met Sereth's calm expression. You speak of order, she said slowly, yet your hand reaches for a knife under the table. Is that how the mighty Sereth negotiate? Sereth's smile thinned. If your ship falters, perhaps it reveals the weakness of its builders. Mara leaned forward, voice low but sharp. Or perhaps it reveals your fear. Silence pressed hard. Neither moved, locked in a duel beyond weapons. Finally, Sereth lifted his glass. Eat, Captain. Tomorrow you will learn what fear truly means. Back aboard the Resolve, the truth hit like a blow. Systems burned out in critical nodes, power conduit severed with precision, coolant leaks time to cascade. De La Cruz slammed a wrench against the bulkhead. They crawled inside us while we sat at their damn table. Vale cursed softly. They want us broken from the inside. Mara studied the damage readouts, each one a scar across her ship. Fury simmered, but she banked it into steel. They think sabotage proves we're fragile, she said. They've forgotten what fragility makes us, dangerous. You push something brittle hard enough, it cuts back. She looked at her crew, their faces lit by failing consoles and stubborn resolve. Patch what you can. Tomorrow we remind them humanity doesn't bleed quietly. The ship felt like morning after a bad night, raw, quiet, braced for worse. Sabotage had spread like frost, cracked conduits, lamed pumps, scorched boards. In Med, 3 crew lay under pale lamps. One berth was empty. Mara looked at the folded blanket where Specialist Kai should have been. De La Cruz joined her, grime like armor. I told Kai we'd be fine, the chief said. He laughed, we don't do fine, we do stubborn. Mara nodded. Then we keep doing stubborn. On the bridge the Sereth formation shadowed them, a frigate edging closer. Damage control, Mara said. Power routed around the worst breaks, De La Cruz replied. We've got thrust, thin shields, and a prayer. Take the prayer, Rourke said, but add teeth. I've been sketching. He threw up schematics that looked like crimes against warranty, mining charges turned magnetic flechettes, a grave call clipped to fling shrapnel in a cone, hull cutters welded to drones. Vale arched a brow. Planning to carve our initials into their hull. If the opportunity arises, Rourke said. Mara studied the designs. Improvised, ugly, lethal. Build them. Quietly. And prep a lure. A lure? Vale asked. They want us penned. Make them think we'll run. When they chase, we spring the trap. You want to fish a frigate with a half-dead ship? De La Cruz asked. Sereth Pride will do half the work, Mara said. We did the other half. Ours slid by in a disciplined blur. Crew passed tools hand to hand. The Resolve had been built to survive mineral storms and vacuum sand. Rourke and Vale loaded the bay with shape charges wired to a deadman trigger on Mara's chair. De La Cruz tuned the grave coil until it hummed. Drones blinked awake, wobbling, then steadier, knives clamped to their maws. They sabotaged us to make us hesitate, Mara told them. We won't. Vale broadcast a distress burst. Make it desperate. Rourke, fake a drive overload. De La Cruz, cut radiators on my mark, let us look overheated and blind. Rourke's grin was a tired crescent. Predator bait. Predators forget other teeth exist, Mara said. The distress call went out, a ragged signal naming failures and thin air. The Sereth frigate peeled forward. It signaled, formal, assured. Power down. Prepare to be boarded. Board this, Rourke muttered. Mara kept her voice even. Copy, Coalition frigate. Powering down. She cut the channel. Heat dump. Radiators slid back. The hull cooled, masking hotspots. The Resolve drifted. The frigate closed to knife distance. Pale beams swept the hull. Wait, Mara said. It angled toward the cargo doors, lining up a boarding lock. Rourke's drones were dark against the hull, magnetized like barnacles. Shadow hid the flechettes. Now, Mara said. The drones sprang, small, vicious, fast. They swarmed the lock, cutters biting arcs. Shape charges detonated outward, a fan of metal teeth driven by the grave call's sudden roll. Armor buckled. The lock ruptured, atmosphere vented in a silver scream. Hit their sensors, Mara snapped. Vale fired the shrapnel cone at the sensor dome. The impact cratered the housing, the frigate lurched, half-blind. Return fire incoming, Rourke warned. Brace. Pale lances raked the Resolve's bow. The bridge shook. De La Cruz rerouted coolant by hand and punched a balky pump until it groaned awake. Shields? Mara asked. Mostly spiritual, De La Cruz said. But the call's holding. Put us under their belly, Mara said. Too close for their big teeth. Vale threaded the Resolve through a web of fire, sliding under the spine where heavy guns couldn't depress. Second volley, Mara ordered. All drones target thrusters. Rourke, gift-wrap them. Drones streaked across the gap. Charges blossomed along the clusters, explosions thumping through metal. The frigate rolled, losing control, trying to bite with weapons that couldn't track. A hole yawned where the lock had been. Through it, Mara glimpsed corridors flickering, silhouettes scrambling against gale force decompression. Kai's empty berth pressed behind her eyes. Enough, she said. We're sending a message, not a corpse. Cut weapons, spare the core. Rourke hesitated, then nodded. Understood. Vale found the seam where armor met engine cowling. Mara armed the last charge, a cutter's heart meant to shear, not shatter. Fire, she said. The charge slid home and bloomed. Aft batteries went cold. Power bled away. Emergency shutters slammed down. The Sereth ship drifted, wounded yet intact. Silence held a beat. Then comms flared. A different Sereth voice, strained, human vessel, disengage. You have proved capacity. Medical casualties aboard. We request ceasefire. Mara stared at the hulk. Kai's laugh echoed, we do stubborn. She also heard her ship breathing through every pipe. Ceasefire granted, she said. Transmit rescue protocols. We'll share ours. Rourke glanced back. We're helping them? We're not prey, Mara said. We're not butchers, either. They watched pods latch onto the frigate, pressure stabilizing behind slammed bulkheads. The trailing formation edged closer, then paused, caught between pride and arithmetic. Let them do the math, De La Cruz murmured. We're one ship. We just took a bite. Open a channel to Verithal, Mara said. The screen brightened, the commander appeared, immaculate with his ship bleeding behind him. You gamble with annihilation, he said. I gamble with your expectations, Mara replied. And today, I won. You could have destroyed the frigate. We could have, she said. We didn't. Learn it. Quiet stretched. Verith inclined his head a fraction. Message received. The channel closed. On the bridge, the crew exhaled. Fatigue stitched into Mara's muscles, but clarity threaded there too. She looked at the stars. They didn't care about victories or wounds. That was fine. Rourke, recover what drones we can. Vale, chart a path through their blind spot. De La Cruz, nurse the coil like it's the only heart we've got. Because it is, De La Cruz said. Mara smiled. Then keep it beating. The Ardent Resolve turned. The disabled frigate fell behind like a lesson across the void. Ahead waited more teeth, more traps, more mornings without dawn. Bring us about, she said. We've got a place to make now. The Ardent Resolve limped into the Dras system under a sky thick with hostile signatures. Dozens of Sereth ships ringed the star, a noose of light and steel. In their center gleamed Verithal's flagship, vast enough to dwarf whole cities. Vale whispered from navigation, that's not a blockade. That's an execution ground. Mara stood straight, shoulders squared. The scars on her ship matched the bruises under her ribs, but her voice carried steady. Then let's disappoint them again. Rourke muttered, I'm running out of tricks. Good, Mara said. That means whatever we do next, they won't predict it. A channel opened without request. Verith's face filled the screen, as pristine as if the battle hadn't touched him. Behind him, his bridge glowed with serene control, his officers arranged like chess pieces. You come limping, yet still defiant, he said. This system is mine. You will kneel here, or you will burn. The galaxy will watch. Mara leaned forward, eyes hard as iron. You want the galaxy to see us fail. We'll give them a different show. Verith's lips curved in that almost smile. Your bravado will not alter mathematics. Numbers decide battles, not stubbornness. Then you've never met a miner betting their life on a collapsing tunnel. Mara cut the channel. The bridge lights flickered under strain. De La Cruz knelt by a console, fingers black with coolant. Engines won't hold for a charge. Not straight at them. We don't go through them, Mara said. We make them come to us. Vale frowned. Against 30 ships. Not 30. Just one. Verith himself. Rourke rubbed his temples. You're planning to poke the biggest predator in the eye. Mara allowed herself a thin smile. And watched the rest hesitate. The plan was reckless, strip the ship bare, turn its wounds into weapons. The Resolve's aft plating came off, exposing scorched coils. Drones carried the scraps into position, weaving them into a glittering debris field. Mining charges were retooled into lures, decoys that mimicked drive signatures. Looks like we're hanging our guts out for them to see, De La Cruz muttered, sealing the last coupling. That's the point, Mara replied. Predators go for exposed meat. Vale adjusted the sensors. They are shifting. Flagship moving forward. Her throat tightened. He's taking the bait. Valeth's ship advanced, its hull gleaming like a drawn blade. The smaller escorts parted, leaving space for the giant to claim the kill. Rourke's hands hovered over the firing board. All drones ready. Charges armed. Mara waited until the flagship crossed into the field of false signatures. Light them. The lures flared, mimicking overloads. To Sereth's sensors, the debris looked like shattering engines, a vessel bleeding drive plasma. The flagship surged closer, eager to deliver the final strike. Hold, Mara whispered. The ship shuddered as the flagship's gravitational grip tightened. Metal groaned. Panels burst in sparks. Vale clenched her jaw, sweat beading. They're locking us down, she said. Not for long, Mara replied. De la Cruz, now. The grave coil inverted, not as a drive but as a weapon. The field snapped outward, catching the debris web. Shards of torn plating, bolts, and half-melted struts accelerated like shot from a cannon. The swarm slammed into the Sereth flagship's forward array. Turrets crumpled, emitters sheared, the proud prow carved open. For the first time, the giant faltered. Direct hit. Rourke shouted. The flagship rolled, light stuttering along its spine. Secondary ships scrambled to cover it, confusion rippling through their formation. Vale grinned, wild-eyed. We blinded them. Not enough, Mara said. Bring us closer. Vale spun the yoke. The Resolve, half-dead and rattling, lunged toward the wounded Leviathan. Inside, the crew braced as the ship roared, systems on the edge of collapse. Mara's voice cut through the chaos. They expect us to run. We're not running. We finished this. Rourke's console lit with frantic warnings. We've got one last charge. After that, we're down to angry words and harsh stares. Make it count. The Resolve skinned the flagship's fractured hull. Through the broken plating, Mara glimpsed the alien vessel's heart, a reactor core pulsing like a caged star. Target acquired, Vale said. Mara's hand hovered over the trigger. She thought of Kai, of empty bunks, of Earth watching the broadcast through alien eyes. She pressed down. The charge fired, then detached, spinning into the reactor breach. Light flared, a sun cracking open. Shield swallowed most of it, but not all. Power cascaded down the flagship's spine, systems failing in waves. The giant shuddered, lights dying section by section, until only emergency beacons pulsed weakly. The galaxy had watched. And seen a single human ship wound a Titan. The comms flared once more. Valeth appeared, this time haloed in red emergency glow. His composure held, but shadows of strain marked his features. You had the chance to kill me, he said. You chose not to. Why? Mara met his gaze, her own face streaked with soot. Because we're not here to be predators. We're here to prove we won't be prey. Valeth studied her, gemstone eyes reflecting the dying light of his ship. At last, he inclined his head. The galaxy will not forget this. Good, Mara said. Neither will we. The channel cut. Silence lingered on the bridge, broken only by the hum of overworked systems. Crew slumped in their chairs, exhaustion overtaking adrenaline. De la Cruz leaned back, wiping sweat with a blackened sleeve. We just picked a fight with the galaxy and walked away. Rourke let out a breathless laugh. We didn't walk, we crawled. But we're still crawling. Vale looked at Mara, eyes fierce. Do you think they'll come again? Of course, Mara said. She straightened, voice firm despite fatigue. But now they'll think twice. That's the first step to respect. She turned toward the stars beyond the viewport, uncaring, endless, waiting. Every point of light was still a frontier, still a promise. The Sereth might see humans as children, but children grew teeth. Children grew into something larger than their keepers could cage. Set a course, Mara said quietly. Anywhere but back. We're not done. The Ardent Resolve shuddered, engines groaning, but the ship moved forward. Behind them, the crippled flagship floated like a scar against the starlit void. Ahead, the Perseus arm stretched wide, filled with challenges and unclaimed futures. Mara sat back in her chair, smoke still curling in the air, the crew steady around her. They were battered. They were few. But they were human. And that, she thought, was enough.